You're watching HCAM TV.
Okay, well, that was random. I don't know why the music stopped. But in any case, welcome to HCAM Sports Talk Live. I'm your host, Tom Nappy, and joining me on the show today, my co-host, Mike Terosian. We got Kevin Stone with us from the Metrowest Daily News, and we have Tom Keane, head coach of the Hopkinton Hillers boys basketball team and also a teacher as well. Tom, how are you?
Great. Thank you so much for having me. Good to see you, Mike and Kevin. Tom, great to be here.
Thanks for joining us. So the boys basketball practices have gotten underway. I believe you had a scrimmage, what was it, this past Monday? How's everything going with the practices so far? And is everybody healthy on the team?
So we did have a scrimmage. We had a scrimmage on Saturday against the Dover Sherborne boys basketball team, and then Monday night against the Bellingham boys basketball team. It was great to be back on the court after such a long layoff. The boys were really excited to be out there, and they worked very, very hard in both of those scrimmages. For the most part, we're healthy. We have 12 players this year. The Tri-Valley League has limited the rosters to 12 per team because of COVID. And right now we just have one player, a sophomore, Karosh Fatahe, who has a deviated septum. So he had a surgery yesterday. So I wish him well and a speedy recovery. So he'll be back in a couple of weeks. So I look forward to seeing him healthy again.
So how have the practices been? Have you had to divide up the team more than usual? And I always figured that it must be pretty tough playing basketball in a mask. How is that going for everybody?
Yeah, so it's definitely a very big adjustment for the kids. And when they're off the court and they're not doing drills, they have to maintain social distancing. So just reminding high school kids that they have to stay 6 feet apart has been something that we have to be super aware of this year. And as far as wearing the masks go, I mean, it's definitely a challenge for them. I've spoken to a lot of coaches in the area, some of the college coaches, to talk about what has worked for them, and I was talking to the Holy Cross basketball coach, Brett Nelson, and he was telling me that his kids have had a lot of success wearing a type of plastic piece around their mouth, so it separates their mouth from the mask. So we're kind of investigating right now, figuring out what works best for our kids and trying to figure it out. But it's definitely a challenge, but it's something that I keep telling the team that everybody in every part of the state is dealing with. So we're going to control what we can control, and mask wearing, I definitely can sympathize with them. It's a challenge.
Certainly is.
Coach, you have to wear a mask during the games.
Yes. Yeah.
How is that going to affect your communication to your referees? How's that going to work out? Because we know we get you on some great close-ups over the several seasons where you might not agree with the call, or you just want to get clarification.
Right.
I don't know. What do you think? Think easier, less technicals? What?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to help me, Mike, because needless to say, a lot of people say that they can read my face very easily. It might be more challenging for my players a little bit, but no, I think it's going to help me out a little bit in that regards. If you have a comment for the official that might be of a constructive nature, then you can say it under the mask, which will help out a little bit, I think.
Absolutely. So it's going to be tough reading your expressions from the crow's nest. So
yes,
it's going to be interesting to see when we actually get to cover your first game, which we're excited for.
Yeah, it should be great. Looking forward to it. January 8th.
January 8th.
And we will
Coach. Oh, sorry, Tom.
Sure, Kevin.
No, so Coach, first of all, good to see you. It's been like 2 years. But just it's along those lines of communication. Do you have to rely more on players this year to kind of get a message out on the court and stuff like that? Just because I'm assuming team huddles are clearly not the same.
Right.
So it's in terms of just getting message out to players. Are you relying more on captains this year?
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. It's going to be a challenge because in most of the gymnasiums we go to, the players are assigned a seat, and they have that seat that they have to go to. So it's not like we can bring them over to the bench and have the 5 starters sit down in a row and you talk to the 5 starters. So I've been more doing it standing up 6 feet apart, but it's a tremendous challenge. And we do have, some great seniors on the team this year. With Matt Cooper, Ross Komkowicz, Brian Keefe, and Josh Sharapusco, Anthony DiPietro. And so we're really going to depend on those seniors to demonstrate some leadership and to make sure that they're more vocal than normal. But, I got to say, after the first week and a half, it's been a tremendous challenge because a lot of my players this year are more quiet by nature. And then you can tell when they put the mask over their face, it's even more so that they're even more quiet. So trying to overcome that and trying to get them to communicate with each other is going to really be paramount to our success this year.
Might have to throw some sign language in there.
Yeah.
And by the way, we want to let everybody know out there who's watching, if you have a question, feel free to share it on our Facebook or YouTube live feed. We're, of course, talking with head coach of the Hillers boys basketball team, Tom Keane. So, Coach, you got a lot of great returning players this year, and obviously it's only a 10-game season. But especially for the seniors, they must be real excited just to get back on the court, especially with what we're seeing now with Worcester schools just canceling their winter sports and some of the schools even in the TVL postponing their seasons. They must be excited to get back out there.
Yeah, you can tell, especially some of the guys that played football and the football season got pushed to fall too. You can tell that those guys are really chomping at the bit, the kids that didn't get a chance to play a fall sport. And the seniors are definitely the ones that are most ready. Some of our guards have come back in tremendous shape, and physically you can tell that they put the work in the weight room, and that even though it's an unusual year, they're going to make the most of it. So I'm really proud of their efforts so far this early in the season.
Tell you, Tom, I want to congratulate not only your athletes, but all the athletes at Hopkinton High School. Living in town, living right across the street from the school, you see the devotion that these kids put in on their own time to stay in shape, to practice, to drill, and they do everything safely. These guys have been fantastic. And that must be a huge help, even though, you talked, I mean, you've been around the game too long. And that it's not about the games, it's about.
You can't be around basketball too long, Mike. Come on.
So it's about the spags, it's about the scavenger hunts, and so that whole thing is what they remember most. And how are they making things memorable this year? Are they doing anything special that you noticed?
Yeah. So, like you said, Mike, that's another part that's really challenging for them because it's usually a lot of the things off the court that you remember the most, right? Yeah, interacting with your team. So just the fact that they can't participate in a lot of those things that you're talking about, team dinners is a big challenge. So we've already, met over Zoom, just like everybody else in the country, but it's obviously not the same. So we're going to continue to figure out ways to, make those connections and build the team together. But it's definitely, just like everybody, it's a big challenge this year.
Now, we know there'll be some procedural changes, such as in the warm-ups, I guess. They can only have a certain amount of players doing the layups. And I know there's all kinds of stuff with that. And with the timeouts, too, they have to separate the players a little more. Is there any rule changes? I haven't heard of any, but was there any slight rule changes or anything like that?
Yeah, so there's a few rule changes. The first one being there's no jump ball this year to start the game. So
I'm glad you told me that.
Really? Well, yeah, I didn't know that.
So it's going to be an inbound pass at half court?
Yeah, it's going to be an inbound pass. The first scrimmage we went to, Brian Keefe lost at rock, paper, scissors against the kid from Sherborne. So we're going to let him do rock, paper, scissors again. And then at Bellingham, they flipped a coin. So
nice.
So there's no jump ball.
It's nice that they mix that up anyways. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And then there is no baseline out of bounds plays this year. So everything's going to be taken out on the sideline. And the person who's guarding the inbounder has to stay 6 feet away from the passing.
Well, next you're gonna tell me they killed your full court press.
Right.
That's the interesting thing, right? Like you can still press, you can still play everybody man to man once the game gets into action. So
right.
It's definitely unusual. I'm sure they have reasons behind it.
So will our athletic director be in charge of wiping down the balls all game?
Yeah. So that's the other change. There has to be a new ball every quarter. There's no halftime, so you guys will get out a little earlier every night.
Thank you
that's
for that.
Fantastic. That's the best news I've heard all day.
That was a big question because I've been getting emails. Pep band or no pep band?
So I doubt there'll be a pep band this year.
Which is a shame because that was a nice thing that you brought. What was that? About 5 years ago you started that?
Yeah, I talked to my friend Mr. Hay, and we started getting the kids out playing the pep band. And I am a huge fan of the pep band, Mike. I love the kids coming out and playing. I think it adds great atmosphere to the gym. And it's a great opportunity for those kids that are practicing their musical instruments all the time to get to play in front of a live audience. So
it's great. They're great volunteers. They run themselves. And what a difference they make. And especially anytime that you have a live national anthem, whether it's instruments or a student singing, that is very special. And, you bring that pep band and then that transition into volleyball. Then they wound up doing it for volleyball too. So,
nice.
It was nice to see that grow.
That is very nice. So, yeah, I absolutely love that. And as soon as we were able to bring them back, then that'll be fantastic. And I know I was telling Kevin and Tom and Mike that I'm at Elmwood School right now, and they're in the middle of bus announcements. So I didn't want.
Everyone watching at home knows when their kids getting on the bus. So
that's right. What was that, bus 10?
HCAM has the high production value, so I want everybody to know that it's on my end, not yours.
John, let me tell you something. It's just awesome to know that we were able to get you on the show. All right, whatever it took, we will put up with the announcements just to have you on the show because we know how much you love giving interviews.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really glad I'm learning about these rule changes because I would have been super confused when I'm trying to broadcast the game.
Yeah. Right. Also, they're going to have a mask break every halfway through every quarter. So mask break for halfway through every quarter. Halftime is 2.5 minutes. On a free throw, you can only have you have no players line up for the dead free throws, like the first free throw.
First one.
So nobody can line up, and then you can have 2 from each team on the free throw line after that.
So all right, so you'll be having 4 instead of 6,
right?
And so 1 and 1s will stay the same.
Correct. Yeah. Well, 1 and 1s with the 4. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Wow.
Coach, is that TVL wide or is that statewide?
That's statewide. Yeah, statewide.
Really?
The only difference that I know of that's the TVL made is the TVL decided on a total of 15 players 15 bodies on the bench and 12 players. So the TVL limited roster to 12. The state limited it to 15. So I think that's the only difference that I know of between the state and the TVL.
I'm sorry. So when you say the limit of the sizes, I'm also worried about who's running the clocks. I mean, we have some famous faces back there. Yeah. Are they going to be allowed to get into this, or what are we doing?
Yeah, the clock operators, they'll be there. So as you said, we have Mike and Coach Bliss doing the
Fantastic.
so they were actually there for our Bellingham scrimmage. So
Oh, good. And do they still put a manager from each team keeping the book, or are they going to separate them too?
So
Because normally we have 4 at the table.
yeah, I think there's going to be one official scorekeeper at every game. Yeah, so that's different. Also, they're going to have the kids when they check into the game. There can only be one kid go to the scorer's table, and then the rest can come in off of the bench almost.
Gotcha.
Yep, but they all have to take hand sanitizer before they come in. So there's all sorts of things to adjust to, really.
Well, for those wondering, I was bus 527 in one.
They're going home for winter break, so these kids are going to be flying down the hallway right now. They're happy.
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
Nothing stopping them. So, Coach, another question I have, and because a lot of people, they see you coaching the varsity team or whatever, but you also teach at the wonderful Elmwood School,
right?
And this year, was it this year you made the transition from the classroom to wellness?
Right. I was supposed to make it. I was supposed to make it last year, and last year at this time I got sick with the cancer.
Yes.
And so I missed most of the school year, and then I came back for 2 days, and then after the second day, it shut down for COVID. So it's been quite a 2020, Mike.
So here you are thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna switch it up from classroom to wellness, and now look at you.
Yeah.
You got.
I started 2020 with colon cancer. I ended with a worldwide pandemic.
Can it get any worse?
It's not my favorite year.
No.
Are you feeling okay though? Everything going well?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. I think about where I was at this point last year. I was, coaching over at Ashland, knowing that I was going in for surgery on January 3rd.
Right.
So it gives you a whole new lease on life, Tom, a whole new perspective about what's really important. It really does. More buses.
More buses.
Winter break is officially starting.
Was it each bus had 5 kids or something?
Yeah. Well, there's all sorts of rules to that too, right?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. All the rules. I tell you, this is definitely for such limited things being done in the buildings and limited things, with things being done at home. This is the most expensive school year ever.
Oh yeah.
And you're doing less at the schools.
Yeah. We went over to Dover Sherborne, and one of the rules is you have to keep the windows open on the bus. So my varsity guys were like popsicles by the time we got there. They were freezing.
So let me ask you.
Sure, they wear the warm-up pants.
Yeah.
Let me ask you that question. So your players now, which always look nice, always wearing a tie, going to the games.
Right.
Now they have to go dressed to play. Are they allowed in locker rooms?
Pretty much. No, there's no locker room use, right? So I'm gonna have to adjust that, right? I've always.
Oh yeah, what are you gonna do? Hide in the corner?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Put them all in their desks that are in the corner of the athletic center.
Yeah, pretty much. You can only use the bathrooms to change. There's no locker room use.
Yep.
So of course I've always had a dress code, very old school that way,
Very old school, absolutely.
I have to loosen that up a little bit this year. I don't think we'll be able to get as dressed up as we usually do.
Right. Yeah, they always look good. Now, here's the big question. What is the latest on spectators?
Yeah, I don't think they've made a decision on that yet, Mike. They're still talking about it as a league. And I know they were thinking about just making that decision right after the new year. So I don't think we're going to find out until
just about the first game.
Just before the beginning of the week before the first game, I think it comes to some type of decision.
But don't worry, folks. We'll have you covered on HCAM. We'll have JV and varsity basketball this year.
Oh, that's exciting.
Boys and girls. Yeah, we get that. We have boys and girls hockey, and we're going to have alpine skiing.
Oh, that's very exciting.
Yeah, that's very new for us, alpine skiing.
And I think that, the kids will love that. The junior varsity players will love seeing themselves on television, and that'll be excellent. Yeah, very nice. Last buses. This is it.
This is the last one.
The grand finale.
I think so. Maybe not. Mike, you had mentioned my working at Elmwood, and I just wanted to mention today a colleague of mine is retiring from the wellness department, and her name is Chris Basil. And
really?
Yeah, and I know a lot of kids had Mrs. Basil over the year. A lot of kids love Mrs. Basil.
Okay, how many years has she been doing the wellness there?
So here's the interesting thing. She did 19 years of wellness here at Elmwood. But
Yes, 19.
yeah, but before she was here teaching phys ed and health, she was the all-time winningest basketball coach at Boston University, which a lot of people don't know.
Did not know that.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, she took a mid-major and she had tremendous defensive teams. They ended up winning 2 conference titles, and she really is. She was a pioneer, really, because at Bishop Feen High School, she was one of the first teams when they went 5-on-5. So a lot of people probably don't know that girls used to play 3-on-3.
Yes.
And she was one of the first to go 5-on-5. And then, as I said, she went onto a career at Boston University and knocked off the likes of Syracuse in a game, Notre Dame as a mid-major. So a lot of people don't know that. Like I've been coaching a long time, but the best coach at Elmwood School is Chris Basil. And
You just gave me my next story.
yeah, she's retired today.
I was just gonna say we got to get her on the show.
She's fantastic. Believe me, if you got her on the show, you'd meet a life force. Chris Basil's got a life force. He's got energy. And we talk about basketball players with high motors. She is a 65-year-old with the highest motor I think I've ever met in my life. She is all energy all the time. So I want to wish her very happy retirement. I wish her all the best in retirement. And I know all of the students out there that had her feel the same way, because she touched so many students' lives at Elmwood School over
That's
the
a great
20
career.
years.
That's fantastic. That's great to hear.
Now, does she ever talk shop with you? Say, hey, you should do this in this situation or this.
She talks more old stories, which I love. You know, she knows everybody. And honestly, if you ever got her on the show, she'd be able to talk to you about Tara Vanderveer and Gino Oriema and all the times that she spent coaching with them. Like the stories she tells, just phenomenal. It's a great story.
That's great. I mean, it's, you know what, we are so fortunate in town, even though you are a Westboro guy, we are very fortunate in this town with the talent and, you know, with the coaches that we've had over the years. And, you know, Blisser is one of them, Joseph the other, and yourself. And I mean, there's so many to list. And It's just incredible that when you have that kind of talent in this town, and then you find out, oh, there's even more that you don't know.
Right.
And you get to learn it. It just blows your mind.
That's so true.
Teachers,
So
please
true.
take your way to the
Yeah.
main
It's great. And so now, what is your sub-varsity staff? Who do you have on?
Make your way to the
So I've been very
main
lucky.
hall.
My 8th grade coach is Mark Sanborn, who was a former player of mine, and he's been doing a great job with the 8th grade boys for quite a few years now.
Class of 2008. That was awesome.
2008, good for you. Yeah.
Well, I
He-
graduated my daughter Stephanie, so that's how I
Oh,
remember.
Yeah, he was one of my excellent players back in 2008, and he
Sure.
does a great job. He teaches wellness at the high school.
Yep.
His mom, Lou, has been the assistant athletic director now for many, many years. So he does a great job at the 8th grade level. Then my freshman coach has been my right-hand man for 22 years now. It's Jay Golden.
Jay Golden.
Yeah, it's amazing to have a coach be with you for all those years. And Coach Golden, really, he runs the program. He takes care of everything that needs to be done all the time, and he keeps on top of me, keeps me organized. He's excellent. And then for the last 5 or 6 years now, I've had Coach Banks, who is a teacher. He's a wellness teacher in Franklin, and he was a former all-star at Westboro in both basketball and soccer. He was a full scholarship player at the University of New Hampshire, and for soccer, and he's excellent. So I've been really blessed over. This is my 22nd year, and I've been blessed to have the same guys, you know, over the years. Before Coach Banks, Coach Greco, and I worked closely for years and years. So, you know, I've had, you know, in 22 years, I've had one freshman coach, and I've had 3 junior varsity coaches, which is really unusual.
That's good. And don't forget your most famous assistant in this town.
Oh, I can't forget Scotty. I can't forget Coach Mackin has been here longer than all of us combined.
Longer than all of us.
I think he runs the show.
Yeah. The best was when Coach Golden and I started coaching. I was 26, and we'd go to these TVL games, and of course I'm not a big believer in ties, right? I'll get dressed up, but I don't wear ties.
Right.
And Scotty Mackin would have the tie on. Of course, Scotty was quite older than us, so whenever we went to a new TVL gym for our first year coaching, the athletic director used to always approach Scotty and talk to him like he was the head coach, So we used to get a big kick out of that. It was a lot of fun. But we love having Coach Mackin.
That's outstanding.
Yeah,
I tell you, the way he runs the student section,
yeah,
during all the timeouts and whatever, he's just fantastic. Everyone just loves seeing him at every game.
yeah.
It's
And you were talking about how many great coaches we have, but the kids that have helped work with Coach Mackin over the years, phenomenal. Like, what a tremendous show of character they all have. Picking them up, dropping them off at home, and just being so nice to them over the years. And
I know that says it throughout the entire athletics of Hopkinton. They raise true scholars, and they are just so good, just always helping everybody else. Like I always loved Margie Grandmeyer's Big Sister, Little Sister program through her 8th grade to varsity programs. And I just love how everyone just joins in.
absolutely.
And they're the nicest kids. I'll see them, get on my way, setting up equipment, whatever. And oh, excuse me, Mr. Trojan. And when I see Mr. Trojan, I'm looking for my father. I don't expect that. But these kids are fantastic. And they've been like that through the years. I mean, I've been doing this, 14 years now with you? And, always been top.
Yeah, and you have Coach Golden, who runs a Special Olympics game every Martin Luther King Day.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Golden's raised thousands and thousands for Coaches versus Cancer. And all of the students that have taken part in the basketball program who have helped with the Special Olympics, it's just really a testament to, as you said, what a great job the community's done.
Sure.
The families have done raising these, young men and women to really have high character and care about others, right, and not just themselves. So,
and that's what makes Hopkins so special.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So how has it been adjusting to these rule changes and practices, such as, having on an inbound the guy 6 feet away and stuff like that? Has it been difficult for you to make that adjustment and be like, oh, we actually have to do this in this situation?
It has been very difficult. And I think, Tom, my administration's playing Celebrate Good Times now that all the buses have gone. Well, I guess they're happy it's break too. But it's been a big adjustment. Like the very first, right before we went to our scrimmage, the practice before, I was going over our tap play, what we run on a jump ball. And then the kids said, "Hey, coach, we don't have any jump balls this year." I'm like, "Oh, there's 5 minutes I saved out of practice anyways." Yeah.
I could just imagine when you're doing the same thing for years and years. And
yeah,
obviously the games had no real rule changes for the most part.
Exactly.
Pretty much forever, but now all kinds of craziness.
Coach, real quick, you mentioned no halftime. Obviously, halftime is huge in terms of, adjustments and stuff like that. What is now, how are you adapting on the fly?
Yeah, I'm going to have to figure that out, Kevin, because you're absolutely right. Halftimes when you have their attention the most,
right,
at any time during the season. I was very disappointed when the Tri-Valley League took JV halftimes and they cut them down from 10 minutes to 5 minutes, because I was arguing with the athletic directors that that's the time when kids listen to you the most, right? They listen to you at halftime, and it adds up. All those minutes add up. So having a 2.5 minute halftime is going to be a big challenge, and we're gonna have to figure that out. Definitely.
Yeah, because you definitely have to change up your talks. Because I've seen so many games at halftime you're down, and then bam, third quarter, fourth quarter, you turn it on because of that halftime talk.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've had to change many stories because of that.
Yeah. Kevin, I just wanted to thank you too. the Metrowest Daily News doing such a wonderful job with that awards show last year. Having Coach Belichick saying my name was the thrill of a lifetime. And then they sent in the mail an autographed picture of Steph Curry, which I have on my mantelpiece now. So I want to thank the Metrowest Daily News for that. It was quite an honor. What a spectacular job they really did putting that together. So thank you for that.
Thank you. That's all way above my head, though.
You're the representative of Metro West, so you can pass it along if you have to. But thank you.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Do you play that Belichick clip every morning?
I love it. I love it because he says it. He delivers it just like you would imagine him to deliver it, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
He faced the old ball coach. He says or something like that. The ball coach of the Hopkinton Hills. So it was a thrill, though. It was quite a thrill.
That's awesome.
Well, you certainly deserved it. What a great year you had last season. And speaking of last season, time for a shameless plug here. On next week's edition of HCAM Sports Live, we'll relive the 2019 Hillers boys basketball playoff run. So we'll have some great highlights from that incredible run. And unfortunately, no postseason this year. You got the 10 games. Has there been any talk throughout the TVL Bowl, maybe TVL championship or anything like that? I know some of the other leagues are doing that.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not going to be any championship this year. They're not going to have any type of tournament at all. They've decided, and they're not going to have even a league championship because the schedules are really going to be imbalanced.
Right.
We, as you said, Tom, Holliston and Ashland are starting late. So the teams that were supposed to play them on a certain night play each other. So we're gonna see the same opponent 4 times.
You'll see Westwood a lot this year.
Yeah. I didn't tell the boys that yet. Westwood's the defending champs with everybody back in the league MVP. So I'm gonna add that to my list. I got colon cancer, worldwide pandemic, Westwood 4 times. I'm gonna add that to the list. But, yeah, and then hopefully that they're hoping to get maybe one or 2 games with Ashland or Holliston. So by the end of it, it could be 12 games, which we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Well, that would be great. Certainly, I hope that'll be the case. The more, the merrier. Coach, also, how's it been? You're doing wellness now, right? The wellness classes now.
Yes.
How's it been doing that through Zoom? It must be a little bit difficult to do that.
Yeah, it's been a challenge. I've been lucky though this year in that they've given me quite a bit of live classes. So I'll have the cohorts, which are smaller classes of 12, which has really been ideal. It's been fancy. That's been fantastic. But I'll have maybe 4 live classes, and then I'll have 2 Zoom classes. And it's again, it's a challenging. It's a completely different way of teaching physical education through Zoom, and especially where they're more limited. You don't know how far they can go with their Wi-Fi. You don't know what kind of supplies they have at home. So we've done things like making sock balls and bringing their stuffed animal for 2nd and 3rd graders to do a workout with, and those types of things. So we've had to get very inventive.
You'll have to tell the school, send them all some dumbbells and stuff like that.
There you
go. Well, Coach, whatever you need to do, I'm sure you'll be great at it. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us on the show. We can't wait for the season. We're glad that the kids will get an opportunity to be on the courts and play some ball. We're certainly glad you'll have the opportunity to coach. We know you absolutely love it. Thanks so much for joining us. We wish you the best of luck, and we'll certainly be catching up with you again in the very near future.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I think my bus is calling me, so I got to go too.
Well, Coach, enjoy the winter break.
See you later. You too. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, and Happy New Year. We'll see you next year. Thanks a lot, Coach. All right, there you have it. Head coach of the Hopkinton Hillers boys basketball team, Tom Keane. I am so glad we asked about the rule changes because I didn't hear anything about that.
I did not know that.
No, I didn't either.
The only thing I knew about was the ball washing every quarter,
Yeah.
and fast breaks.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna miss jump ball so much.
I do, but no
Hey,
jump.
you know what? No halftime is the best thing I've ever heard.
For us, maybe not
Sure,
for
exactly,
a coach.
exactly, Exactly. That's
I-
that's fantastic news for us.
One thing we should ask: will they do overtime, or they get just end in ties? We should ask that question.
That's a
Yeah.
good point. We should.
Because they want a time limit, everything.
Right.
All right, Mike. You can email them. There's your
I will.
homework.
I'm going to send that right now.
Yeah, I'll miss jump balls. It's certainly one of my favorite parts of the game. But I guess I could see why they're trying to avoid those close contact situations. Does that work, taking that stuff out? Well, that could be argued. But in any case, it looks like for the most part, the rules will still pretty much be the same. And I do think that as much as we like the short half times, the 2.5 minutes instead of the typical 10 minutes, I really do think that's going to be a tall task for the coach and the players. Because you think, you got your starting five out there running the floor most of the first half. You're going to be pretty wiped out having to go into the second half pretty much right away.
Yeah, you mentioned, coaches like Tom, and there's a lot like him. That's such a huge part of the game, those halftime adjustments. And especially in high school, if you got kids down or, just, kind of out of it at that point, you can kind of boost some momentum back up and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be a huge part of really everyone's game around the state. That's tough, man.
Yeah, it certainly is. And the Hillers are notorious for turning it around in the second half. I can't tell you how many games last year they were struggling in the first half. And it wasn't in every case, but a lot of cases they were struggling a bit in the first half for keeping it close, maybe behind by a little bit. And then in the second half, they would turn on the gas and end up turning the game totally around. So I think it will be tough, but certainly if there's a coach out there that can adjust to it, it's Coach Keane, who has a lot of great experience and has had to play against a lot of tough competition.
Yeah, when you talk about that, when you watch them run into, as soon as that buzzer goes off, everyone just runs to that dressing room. And we always turn the broadcast, whether I'm doing color with Tom or Tom's with Steve or with whoever, they always say, what do you think coach is telling them in the locker room? We always try to guess, how they're going to adapt for the third and fourth quarter. And now it's like when you don't have that, seeing them go into a quarter like a Pop Water team at halftime going into the end zone corner, it's going to be so different. And that is huge. That is a huge time with your kids is halftime.
Right. And that's when you're mapping out strategy, totally switching up your game plan because you see something that's not working. And in basketball, game plan is huge. And drawing up plays is huge. So, yeah, it's going to be different. It'll certainly be different. But I guess the good news is we have basketball, at least as of right now.
Find that one and
absolutely.
Things are changing. We have the governors came up with the new orders as of December 26th, and we're closing down places to 25% again, and it's gonna be tough. So fingers crossed.
And I'm personally not optimistic there'll be spectators at least to start. Maybe there will. That decision has not been reached yet. But if I'm guessing, I'd say probably not at first. But we'll have the games for you on HCAM Live.
Right. Well, the main reason why I see it in Hopkinton is because you have to come in through the main entrance, through the atrium, into the foyer, downstairs, and into the gym. Whereas a lot of other schools have doors right into the gyms.
Mm-hmm.
So to go through the whole school and that whole disinfectant process, why add the parents to it? That's the way I see it in Hopkinton.
Well, they could open up that gymnasium door. There is a door there that they could open up.
Right. The outside doors could be open, but from where they have to park to walk around in the wintertime is not the safest way to do it.
Right. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll know next week, right?
Yep, absolutely.
First boys game is the 10th, which is Sunday afternoon.
Or is it the 8th? Might be the 8th.
The 8th is the girls' game, but the first
Ah.
boys' game is the 10th on Sunday afternoon. The
Yes,
first
that's right.
girls' game is going to be at 5 o'clock on Friday the 8th. And our very first game of them all is going to be varsity girls hockey on the 6th at 5:30.
And we'll be posting our broadcast schedule to our website each and every week so you know where and when the games will be live on our HCAM channels. We'll have boys hockey, girls hockey, boys and girls basketball, both varsity and JV, and alpine skiing, and maybe
Alpine
more.
skiing, Thursday nights, hopefully. I think it's Thursday nights.
Terrific. Well, we are looking forward to it. And I mean, the unfortunate news of the day, I know Worcester schools called it quits for the winter season, which is very unfortunate. I know Milford has postponed the start of their season. So we're certainly hoping that none of that will happen. But if it does, we'll keep you up to date. And I'd imagine that they're really going to try to get at least 10 games in for all the schools in the TVL, despite the fact that there is a couple in Holliston and Ashland that have a delayed start to their season. But I think they're going to try to get as many games in as possible.
Right.
But in any case, we should get to our NFL picks for week 16. Can you believe it? Just 2 more weeks left of the season. And it doesn't matter for the Patriots, but it matters for our picks.
For the rest of us. I still want to find out how I did had the best week ever, and I came in last.
Well, let's recap what happened last week. We all did good. We all did good last week. Mike did the worst. He went 11-5, and he was in last place. Can you believe that?
Normally, that's the first place right there.
Yeah, normally it would be. A lot of predictable games last week, but there were some crazy upsets, like Cincinnati beating Pittsburgh, for example. Kevin, yourself and me went 12-4.
I'll take it.
We tied for second, and guess who the winner was? The one guy who's not here today, Bob. He went 13-3. So Bob dominating in NFL picks last week.
Well, you better send him an email, let him know this way here we can participate.
I mean, do we want him to know? But we have a lot of crucial games coming up this week as far as the playoff picture is concerned. So let's get to it. We have one game on Friday, Christmas Day, and that game is the 6-8 Minnesota Vikings, who I don't think are officially eliminated, but have an extremely slim shot to get in. They are taking on the 10-4 Saints, who are still battling for that number 1 seed. That's a 4:30 start. Only game on Christmas Day. I'll start off. I'm taking the Saints in this one. Mike, who do you got?
Yeah, I think so too. Drew Brees really looked like himself on that second half against KC. So I think, definitely Saints. And I love the Vikings, but Saints will take this one.
All right. And Kevin, who do you have?
Yeah, Saints at home on a holiday. It's hard to beat anybody. Well, hard to beat them in the dome at any point, let alone on Christmas Eve. So you got to like the Saints there.
Yeah, and Minnesota did me no favors last week, losing to Chicago. That was unfortunate. I think that was the big difference. I think that's the game Bob got. Bob and Mike had the Bears, so they picked that one right. All right, we got the 9-5 Bucks against the 5-9 Lions. That game, this is the Saturday games. This one's at 1:00. The Bucks, they are very much in the hunt for not only a playoff spot, but also the division. Only one game up on the Saints. I'm going to take the Bucks in this one over the Lions. I think they're finally starting to get hot and feel it. And it seems like the Brady-Antonio Brown connection is developing, as well as the Brady-Gronk connection. Mike, who do you have?
Well, I'm definitely going Bucks. I think Brady will really, really take over that Lions defense.
All right, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, I've been riding Tampa all year. I'm going to take them here, but, man, if you watch that game the other day, and really all year, they are such a roller coaster team. The defense always gets them in a hole, and the offense really is inconsistent until the second half in every game. So I want him to win a Super Bowl, but I think I've said this the past 3 weeks I've been on with you guys. I wouldn't be surprised if they won and done either. So I'm going to take them here, but moving forward, man, they scare me.
Yeah, they are a scary team. They've certainly been up and down, and the defense is very questionable on
Yep.
that team. So is the offensive line. And speaking of that game last week, of course, Tampa Bay, they were trailing Atlanta. What was it, 21 to
17 nothing and 24-7.
Yeah, 17 to 24-7. They came back and won. Brady pulled off another miracle, and Atlanta, they just must absolutely hate Tom Brady because he's now had humongous comebacks. And of course, the 2016 Super Bowl, where the Patriots were down 28-3, and now in a crucial game for Atlanta. Well, not really, because they're kind of out anyway, but in a game that it looked like Atlanta had won Tampa Bay with an excellent comeback. And here's the most mind-blowing stat with that comeback win by Tampa Bay over Atlanta last week. Since the 2016 Super Bowl, Atlanta has 28 wins and 34 losses.
Wow.
That was the final score of the 2016 Super Bowl.
It is crazy.
That is absolutely nuts. Mind-blowing stat of the day. I saw a meme with that. I did confirm it. It is a legit meme. That is unbelievable to me.
No one did their homework.
All right. Yes, for once. For once, I did my homework. All right. We have the 5-9 San Francisco 49ers, 8-6 Arizona Cardinals. This is a 4:30 p.m. game on Saturday. I'm going with Arizona. Mike, who do you got?
Yeah, Arizona, without a doubt. I think Murray will hits all over the secondary. So yeah, I see.
All right, Kevin.
Yeah, Arizona, but isn't this a home game for both teams technically?
Yeah,
It's so
technically
weird.
both because of COVID.
Yeah, yeah, I like Arizona though. Their offense is, it should be one of the better offenses in the playoffs. If their defense can figure it out, they can make a run.
Absolutely. I definitely think they have the talent to make a run.
Yeah.
Their coaching is the most questionable thing to me with that team.
True.
Because they've made some bad decisions over the past couple of years. And San Francisco just got blown out by Dallas, so I can't imagine them winning this game. The night game of Saturday night, 8:15 start. This is a pretty good one. The 9-5 Miami Dolphins, who can no longer win the division, but they could certainly clinch a playoff spot with a win here against the 7-7 Raiders, who are still technically alive. In the 8:15 game, I think Miami's been playing pretty well lately. I'm going to go with the Dolphins in this one. The Raiders, they have the talent. They just can't seem to put it together. Mike, who do you got?
Yeah, even though that the Raiders will probably play Mariota there, I think I think the Dolphins will take it. I think it's going to be a close game.
All right, and I was the only one to pick the Chargers over the Raiders last week, by the way. Kevin, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to take Miami. I think this one's all about coaching. Both teams, talent-wise, are pretty even, at least to me. So give me Flores over Gruden there.
All right, now we go on to the Sunday games. And speaking of teams that are pretty evenly matched, the 5-9 Broncos against the 5-9 Chargers. This game is one of the toughest to pick. It could literally go either way, but I'll take the Chargers. They did me good last week. Hopefully they'll do me good this week. I'll take the Chargers. Mike, who do you got?
Yeah, I think the Chargers will definitely. Yeah, I think Chargers got it.
All right, Kevin.
Where is it? Is it in Denver or in LA?
That
It's
LA.
in LA.
Give me the
In
Chargers then.
The empty stadiums of LA, which Chargers are a team. They didn't know if they would even be able to play in LA because of all the strict California lockdown rules. All right, the 10-4 Browns and the 1-13 Jets. Somehow, this was the other big surprise last week. The Jets beat the Rams. I don't know how that happened. It's unbelievable to me. Just when you think the Rams are one of the elite teams in the league, they're dominating everybody, they lose to the Jets. Talk about a sleeper. I'm still going to go with the Browns. I don't think the Jets win another game all season. Mike, who do you have?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth.
All right, Kevin.
Yep, same.
All right, we're all in the Browns. We had to go around the table. The Jets got a big win last week. You never know.
You never know.
The NFC East leading, or are they the leading? But they're up there. 5-9 Giants against the 9-5 Ravens. Crucial game for the Giants. Can they get the job done? I say no. Give me Baltimore. Mike, who do you got?
Yeah, Baltimore. It's I think it'll be a low scoring game. I think that Baltimore's got it.
All right, Kevin.
Yeah, Baltimore. Their offense is just too good.
It is, and yeah, they had a couple weeks where they struggled a little bit, but they are certainly shining now. And perhaps, unlike last year, maybe they're shining at the right time this year.
Mhm.
The 3-10-1 Bengals against the 4-10 Texans, the dumpster matchup of the week. I don't know. Give me the Texans, I guess. Mike, who do you got?
I lost my note. I think I had it here. So hold on a second.
All right, Kevin, who do you got? Well, he's looking.
Houston. Just give me the team that actually has a quarterback.
All right, Mike, did you find your note?
I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah, I'm going Houston.
All right, there we go. Houston, Texas across the board. All right, the 7-7 Bears, 1-13 Jags. Anybody picking Jacksonville?
No chance.
All right, Bears across the board in that one. Jacksonville's horrible. And hey, they're now in the running for that number one pick. It looks like Trevor Lawrence is heading to Jacksonville. And I've heard Lawrence didn't even want to go to the Jets, so this might work out for both parties.
Hey, that's sneaky big for BC too. If he was going to the Jets, there's a chance he stays. So now that he can go to Jacksonville, there's a better shot that he leaves Clemson and Phil Dracovic is now the best quarterback in the ACC. I had to tie that in there real quick. That came to me a couple nights ago.
I like it. That could be big. The 4-10 Atlanta Falcons against the 13-1 Kansas City Chiefs. Anyone going to dare to go with Atlanta?
No.
All right, Chiefs across the board. Here's probably the game of the week. 10-4 Colts against the 11-3 Steelers. Crucial for playoff seeding.
Yeah.
This is going to be a huge game and an absolute battle. And I'm going Colts. I don't know what's up with the Steelers, but in the last 3 weeks, they've lost to the Washington football team. They've lost to, who was it after that? It was actually a pretty good team after that. Buffalo. And then they lost this past week somehow to Cincinnati. I'll go with the Colts on this one. I think the Steelers might be falling apart. Mike, who do you got?
Well, you know what? I would I'm right there with you as far as saying the Colts, but for some reason I have a feeling, even though Steelers are struggling to move that ball, I think Roethlisberger is going to step up and pull up an upset. So I'm going to go Steelers.
Oh, boy. All right, Kevin, who do you got?
This is where we have to differ. This is the game that I think and believe me, it's probably going to be the Colts.
This is a good game to differ because I'd rather have a winner based on a game like this rather than
right. And I think it's going to be an upset. That's why, because the Colts should win it.
All right, Kevin, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to take Indy just because if you're going to go face that defense in Indianapolis, you need to run the ball, and they can't. So if they're going to throw the ball all day against Indy, I think they're screwed. So I think it's low scoring, but give me the Colts there.
All right. Hopefully it'll be Indy so Mike doesn't win. All right. We have the 4-10 Panthers against the 6-8 Washington football team. It's actually Washington, the NFC East leading Washington football team. They're on absolute fire lately. Give me Washington.
Did you see the new meme to solve the name change?
Yes.
The Redskins and they put the Redskin potato in there. I thought that was perfect.
It's a good solution.
I think it works because I am going Washington.
All right. They almost beat Seattle last week.
Yeah.
Kevin, who do you got?
Yeah, Washington, man. They're a hell of a story.
They are. I really hope they win the NFC East and just have a crazy upset in the playoffs. That would be great. Here's another great game. The 9-5 Rams against the 10-4 Seahawks. Crucial game for the NFC West and also playoff seeding. The Rams, they just had a historically bad loss to the Jets. I don't know how they did that. This game's in Seattle. I know there's no fans. You know what? I'm going to let you pick first, Kevin. Who do you got?
It is really tough. I have to go with Seattle just because of the spot. Give me Pete Carroll over McVay in a must-win kind of game. I still don't trust him yet. So
yeah, I just can't trust the Rams. I'll go with Seattle as well.
I was thinking the same thing. Coming off the loss to the Jets, and I don't know. Will McVay get them out? I'm going to go Seattle.
Oh, I thought he was going to do it. I thought he was going to go Rams.
I almost did.
I like it. All right. The 4-9-1 Eagles against the 5-9 Cowboys. This is still technically a crucial game since they're both in the playoff mix. Philadelphia, they've been better with Hurts, but I still don't trust them. I don't trust who can you trust in this game? But I don't know. I guess Dallas. Give me the Red Rocket and the Dallas Cowboys. Mike, who do you got?
Well, I think the Cowboys are suddenly playing pretty good on offense, and I'm give me those Cowboys.
All right, Kevin.
Yeah, I really want to take Philly just because it hurts. I don't know if Dallas can stop them, but that Philly defense is complete garbage. So give me Dallas.
All right, something I thought I'd never see this year. Dallas across the board. The Sunday night game, this one's a big one. The 10-4 Titans against the 11-3 Packers. This is going to be a great game. I would certainly bet the over on this one. Give me Green Bay. I think Aaron Rodgers is playing out of his mind right now. The Titans, they've been playing great too. This is going to be a close game, but I'll go Green Bay. Mike, who do you got?
I think it's a high-scoring game. I think you're going to see is 60 to 70 points. So I'm definitely going Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers, he was just okay last week, but he's going to come back in this big game here.
All right, Kevin.
Just because we need to switch it up, I'm going to go Tennessee. I love Green Bay there, but something tells me, we talked about it a few weeks ago, Aaron Rodgers in those kind of spots, man, those games that he should win, there's a little bit of no-show factor. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's Tennessee.
See, I don't think this is a game he should win, though, because I think
that's fair.
I think Titans are a legit team.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So this one could go either way. All right, Monday Night Football, the worthless 6-8 Patriots against the 11-3 Buffalo Bills. Patriots don't have a chance at anything this year. They've officially been eliminated from the playoffs. Bills are still fighting for playoff seeding. I got to go Buffalo. Mike, who do you got?
Oh, give me a home with a Buffalo Rome, baby.
All right, Kevin.
Buffalo, and I actually think it might get ugly. If they're ever going to blow the Patriots out and kind of make a statement that they're that next team, it's on Monday Night Football in Gillette. So this one might get ugly.
And we could see Stidham starting. Who knows what they're going to do? They're already out, so they might as well see what they got for next year. Will they keep Cam Newton? I don't know. I tend to doubt it. What do you guys think? You want to see Cam Newton back?
Absolutely not. Start Stidham the last two games.
Cool.
Yeah. No, I do not want to see Newton back. I think you start Stidham. I don't think you really have much in Stidham as of right now either, based on what I've seen. But I think you have to start him, see what you got, see if it's worth keeping him around. I don't think he'll be a starter next year. I could picture him being the second string and potentially starter in the future. But I think you certainly want to consider going with Stidham in this game against Buffalo, see what you got. But who knows if Belichick maybe is considering keeping Cam. I think the only way Belichick plays Cam is if he's considering keeping him. So if you see Cam out there, I think it might be a clue that Belichick is considering keeping the guy. So it'll be pretty interesting. I don't think we haven't seen the Patriots in this place in a long time. 2 weeks left.
It's different. It's hard to talk about.
Yeah.
So the last time they finished 500 or worse was 5-11 in 2000. I was actually at the last game in Foxborough. And I remember just the dead atmosphere there. Now, granted, it was the old Foxborough Stadium, so it might have just been no one wanted to be at that dump anymore.
Right.
But man, I remember that feeling. And the only bad thing about them being on Monday night is you can't flip over to red zone when they get blown out.
Oh, I know. I wasn't even going to watch if they're on Sunday. I'd be watching another game or red zone.
Yep.
Kind of like I did last week, really. I barely watched that game. It was not even worth watching. But anyways, we are out of time. So we want to wish everyone out there happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We hope you enjoyed the show. For Kevin Stone and Mike Terosian, I'm Tom Nappy. Join us next week where we will relive the 2019 Hopkinton Hillers boys basketball run. Enjoy your holidays and take care, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon. All right. Great show as always, gentlemen.